All right, let's take a look. This is very interesting. Average draft age for NFL's executives, and this goes from 2017 until 2021. And that top one that drafts the really, really young guys by a whole lot is Andrew Berry. And you look down, John Dorsey is like the fifth or sixth oldest in his regime with the Browns. But that graphically shows you what we have kind of said about the guardrails. And the reason that makes sense is when you're drafting guys, especially in the first round, that fifth year, they're under 30. They're like Denzel Ward, 26, 27. You're going to give them 5 years. So the second contract takes you up to 30 that's when you start worrying about NFL players. But that's the reason for it, and that graphically shows you how young the guys that Andrew Berry profiles are.
They did a great job. Not only Denzel Ward, David Njoku, really young guy. Newsom is a really young guy. Obviously, some of those guys are dudes that have made it to their second contract. David Njoku got franchise tag, but he said one thing that is very important. Yes, the Cleveland Browns are a team that are moving up, and there is a team that is competing for a Super Bowl. So the draft does wane a little bit as far as where your draft order is, how important is it. You do need to continue to find people. But the thing he said is, hey, you need to get guys under asset for cheap for long periods of time. So if you can get a guy and get him to your second contract, look how many years of services you got from him if you're drafting guys that are 20 and 21. By the time they get to the second contract, you've already exhausted the best years of their career, especially when you're dealing with a sport like the NFL. So it's imperative to get those guys. If you hit on a guy, extend those guys. And I think if you look at it, the Cleveland Browns are now starting to do that. Prior to this, Cleveland Browns never extended people because they were having bust. The Barkevios Mingos of the world, the Cam Irvings, the Danny Sheltons of the world, Johnny Manziel's, Trent Richardson's, those guys were already almost out of the league in 2-3 years, let alone getting the first contract. But look what they've done so far. You've got Joe Bitonio, who's on a couple of years, his second deal. You look at Myles Garrett is on his second deal, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb is another guy. So you see that it's important to not only identify who you want, but you also have to develop those guys and sign them to the next year deals and to the second contract. So it's imperative to have guys that are younger on your roster and you have them under asset for those 5 years, especially if you drafted them in the first round. Because the first round, remember, you get 5 years in the option, either on the team option or the player option. Second round, you're only going to get 4 years.